I think he's busy networking. Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, Mr. Ketan Sheth, please. Yeah, he's a chairman, founder, principal designer, and director of Goldmine Project Consultants. Welcome, sir, to the panel discussion. You can, yeah. I'd like to invite Mr. Jugal Mistri. He is a principal architect for Jugal Mistri Architects. We have a lady on the panel, Neha Garg, who's a principal designer for Studio uh, Jane Designs. Yeah. And last but not least, we have Mr. Jaideep Gupta, who's a director of Jaideep Aurovindo Gupta Hospitality Consultants. A very interesting panel here. So let's welcome them with a huge round of applause, and we'll get straight into the topic. Thank you. So, a very warm welcome to World of Hospitality Expo. And actually, a panel on sustainable hotel design is something which has just come up in the past two shows we have done because we see it as a very trending topic. And I myself are very passionate about sustainability and, in just in my lifestyle and everything that we do. And so before we start, maybe we can have a short round of introduction. And I request you all to keep it a little brief because we need to get to the actual meat of the matter first. Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm very delighted to be here on such an interesting topic. So this is Neha Garg from Studio Jane Designs, and it's a practice which is mainly into the residences, the hospitality industry, and the hybrid industry, which is coming up as a very beautiful balance between the hospitality and the residential, which is called villas. These are weekend villas. And with this, yes, my philosophy is to be timeless, to be sustainable, because that is the requirement of the hour. And that is what we are discussing here. Let's hope to have a very good, great discussion.
I'm Dr. Jaideep Gupta. I basically a hospitality professional. Started working with five-star hotels and spent about more than 2 decades in hospitality, working for hotels and five-star hotels. Then I shifted to restaurants, and since 2015 I'm consulting. And since then I've been involved in more than 70 restaurant properties. I mostly concentrate on restaurant design and restaurant back-end operations.
Hi, I'm Jugal Mistri. I'm the principal architect and founder at JMA Mumbai. So we are a full-service architecture interior design firm, and our work primarily focuses on cultural-driven and context-driven projects. And these range from high-end luxury homes to holiday homes, second homes, with with an added extension of hospitality, as well as developer projects within Bombay that include commercial towers and residential apartment buildings. Thank you.
Hi, I am Ketan Sheth from Goldmine Project Consultant and currently a chairperson for Indian Institute of Interior Designer, Mumbai. So like I'm in the industry from last more than 30 years, and residence is our, of course, bread and butter, but my passion is hospitality industry. So we keep doing restaurants, banquets, hotels, and this is what we really love to do it. That's it.
Thank you, everyone, for keeping it, sticking to my request and keeping it short and sweet. Going to my first talk point, which is actually the main thing, like, are hotels and restaurant projects, developers, how open they are to incorporate sustainability into their designs?
So basically, when it calls to sustainability, I believe that's what called the new luxury, which is required for the day. When we call, especially talk about the hospitality industry, so hospitality these days are generally called as home away from home, not only for the leisure stays, but also even for the business stays where the inclusive wellness is required throughout the industry. So the sustainability comes out as very important part because um, uh, with the requirement of the how we have the sedentary lifestyle, and we have been changing to a lifestyle which we look for, where for a slow living, where we want us to get into a living style where we are connected a lot towards nature, and we can, create the nature, we can sustain, we can preserve the nature, and we can also be creating some kind of innovation which can help us to have a better world tomorrow. So this is very, very much required in today's environment, today's day.
Thank you. Interesting topic, Stina, and I wish I could say that the restaurants per se had a more focus on sustainability. However, there are certain issues, especially in Mumbai, where space is at a premium and it's very, very expensive for restaurants to put in total sustainability in their designs. Having said that, definitely the move is towards first grade. People do want to use sustainable materials. They want to do a lot in terms of working out how to save energy and resources. One of the prime examples I can take recently has been Kaya Goa, which is a slow living, like she was mentioning, slow living space. I think that has been one of my most successful sustainable designs. Uh, I think restaurants these days concentrate more on food. They are able to get in local ingredients, which is the need of the hour, and use as less of plastic as possible, which is again the need of the hour. So it is moving, but very slowly.
So the social fabric within the hospitality industry is now moving towards more personalized experiences. That is beyond just a hotel or a resort. And that's where we come in as a firm because a large part of our portfolio focuses on second homes or holiday homes where the traveler or the visitor expects that level of hospitality and service. So it's a very different kind of typology. These are more like vacation homes with a hotel experience. But to answer your question, yes, developers are very receptive. But again, for them, it is more of the experiential gratification than a cost benefit when it comes to sustainability. And for us, sustainability is more of a local grounded material than a very expensive foreign gadget. That's how we see sustainability being implemented within our projects.
See, what I feel when we talk about sustainability, it's a need of today's time. Everybody is talking about sustainability. And in sustainability, I always consider there are three R, like reuse, reduce, and recycle. And that is really helping every developers and everyone to get into sustainability. And use of lot many materials. In today's time, we feel getting into sustainability is very expensive affair, but it is not. It's a myth kind of thing. There are so many substitute materials are available, which can, if we focus very strongly on it, all developers are ready to work on sustainability concept.
I'd like to add something here. So when we are talking about sustainability in the hospitality industry, so hospitality is not just limited to the permanent setups like those of hotels and the restaurants and that of the resort, but then hospitality is also the part of the events which are happening. So events with the most live event with with lot of heat in India is the Coldplay event. So I just recently got to know Coldplay are one of the most sustainable event setups. Like they use kinetic flooring, which with the thumbs of the human when they are they are jumping and they are activated on that floor, that converts the kinetic energy into the electrical energy, and they use that electrical energy for running their concert. Similarly, they use completely the reusable batteries of BMW to generate solar energy for their concert, and they are strictly saying no for single usage PET bottles. So this is like, it's not just the hospitality is limited to the permanent setup, it's equally important for every kind of event which is pertaining to hospitality.
Yeah, that's a great point, Neha. I think Jugal has some slides. So let us know if when you want to use it. I mean, like, he just wanted to make it a little interactive. So you'll let him. Okay, fine. So coming to the next, and India is a very price-sensitive market. So my next question is that how much or how expensive it is to make the transition to sustainability? Like, not just for new projects, but for existing projects, how can they make the shift? What would be the cost and what would be the investment involved? If it is very high, is it beneficial in the long run? So the return on investment.
Shall I start? Okay, thank you. So, hospitality, we in general know that it's a very high investment uh, industry, a very high demanding investment industry. With that, not only the fixed investment, the initial investment to create the setup is huge, but the running expenses, the operational expenses are equivalent, very expensive. And plus, we cannot ignore the fact that hospitality industry is a very seasonal business, and it mostly comes when it comes to especially for the leisure travel. So it's very important for the hospitality industry to make it very multifunctional space from the point of view of, if I have to give you the example, they have to create a very proper balance between the leisure travel, between the business travel, and the digital nomads, which will help them in keeping their costs running. Plus, when we talk about sustainability, sustainability is not just about, as Mr. Ketan was mentioning, that it is recreate, reuse, and recycle. It is also about that when we use these when we reuse or recycle, it also helps us in reducing the costs to some extent, which helps these hospitality industry to save some amount for their running expenses, and they sustain their commercial aspect for a longer term. So I would say, like, sustainability is not just helpful in preserving the earth. In fact, it also equally helpful in making their expensive costs running in a very smooth manner.
Setting up a sustainable place is actually cheaper. To transfer it from a normal into a sustainable thing, it becomes very difficult. For various reasons. One is you need to change a lot of the infrastructure, which is also a problem. Yes,
Suhail Kannampalli was saying yesterday
that's
that,
correct.
we just started at the project stage itself. That makes it much more easier for the transit.
So for restaurants, if you put something as mandatory, then they follow it. If it's not mandatory, they don't. For the various, I mean, she pointed out very well, because the cost factors kick in, and the end product is that the profitability goes down drastically. One of the biggest phenomenons which has affected this drive is deliveries, because now post-COVID, the delivery business has really shot up. Now, but every time you ask for a delivery, 99% of the time you get the product in a plastic box. That's because India has not yet developed those packaging materials which can sustain a long time with delivery, and our food is such that we use a lot of gravies, we use a lot of stuff. So to keep it absolutely on a sustainable level is very difficult. I was in Vietnam about a year ago, and I was very impressed with the way they were packaging into sustainable products. But what really killed the whole thing was when you ask for a delivery, they put it in a plastic bag. So that last mile coverage is definitely not there. That's where I think we need to work towards giving the restaurant and the hotel business material which can literally hold the delivery things right up to your doorstep till the last mile. Unfortunately, Swiggy and Zomato, who are the major delivery partners, they also take a huge chunk of the profits. So as a result of which, restaurants, they take a step back when it comes to spending on sustainability.
I think the cost really depends on where you're located. So if you are in an urban area doing fancy Four Seasons, with modern amenities, it's definitely going to be very expensive. Compared to if you're doing something more local, something that's more kind of culturally embedded, where you are introducing elements like passive cooling, overall water saving, rainwater harvesting, then these tools really become not so expensive. So it's really the location that dictates the cost on how to embed energy efficient features within the hotel. But to answer your question again, so retrofitting is always more expensive because then you are kind of redesigning, you are kind of reintroducing a lot of the new palettes, new materials, as opposed to starting something fresh, because then there is a very clear idea, there is a very clear design to it, and it's more efficient, right? And in both cases, I would say that it is a long-term investment. You're going to see the benefits. You have to basically wait a while. Yeah.
Yeah, so as you all have mentioned, actually, when we plan well in advance, I'm sure the cost is not going to affect that badly. And there is a huge awareness, and this is again one very important point to attract our customers also when we have this kind of facility available. When the moment we talk it is eco-friendly, the international players start really vouching on it and they start coming into this kind of hotel. So it definitely generate a better business for them. So today investment is much higher or maybe little more higher, but then over a period of time, mostly they claim in 2 years or 3 years, they start recovering this cost. So it is always better to incorporate this kind of sustainable products in the market, which is very much easily available. Another important small, but every baby step can really help. Like we can have lighting on sensors. Again, that saves a lot of energy. So these kind of steps like using towels, you wash it alternate day. All these small steps really helps to save a lot of water, energy and everything.
Again, Mr. Ketan, in fact, I would add here, when we are saving even the smaller bit to the bigger bit, it is, and when it is get documented in the form of the credit neutralization or credit, carbon credit negative, when the setup becomes carbon credit negative or carbon credit neutral, they in fact gets more investment. They are more attracted for the investors to invest in. And plus, yes, in a longer run, that also becomes commercial viable for them.
May I add one more thing? I think a lot depends on how you educate people to take sustainability to a forward. Because while India, especially the youth, is moving towards sustainability in a very, very big way, but there's a large chunk of the population which is yet not aware of the benefits of sustainability in the long run. So education is as important as doing your own projects as well.
Yeah, I agree with that, education and awareness. But sometimes, in markets like India, mandatory and regulatory compliance, I think, works better.
Exactly.
So I think very soon India is actually going to get into the carbon credit market. And then when that becomes, like mandatory and for businesses, I think then they'll have to take that path, right?
Agreed.
Yeah. So coming to our next talk point, everybody, you have this new buzzword, which people, not new, it's like been there for a while, but I think after COVID and all, it's become more prominent, biophilic design. So people want to bring nature indoors. Sometimes it may be just from in your own homes, you want to have a wallpaper that has like bamboo on it or some kind of garden view, whatever. So how is that? How is India receptive to this trend of biophilic design? And I'll combine it with my next question, which is like, how can we use local materials? Like when we go to Kerala, we see a lot of the hotels using laterite rocks, which is actually the local, building material there. And it has got all this thing like, being porous, it keeps things cool and those tiles. So how can like projects, incorporate these without putting too much of a burden on the costs?
So first we have to talk about local materials. Okay, so when we are talking about biophilic, so what I understand, I think what the entire world understand, nature is the best healer. And as I mentioned that we are going back to our roots where the nature is the most important thing. So it's not only outside to in. So when, especially talking about the hospitality, when there are multiple kind of consultants are involved, right from the landscape consultant, then architect, then interior designer and consultant, all have to be working in cohesive manner to get the biophilic theme, I would say. That's a theme of the day. So that biophilic theme, right from the outside to in, that is first important thing. Not only from the point of view of the sustainability or saving the earth or creation of the earth rather. Fact is equally important because I believe it's one of the most inexpensive way of decoring a space, not just outside but also inside, and the kind of the tranquility, the kind of the mental and the physical wellness that gives, probably none other accessory or none other element can give that. Now talking about the biophilic again, how the biophilic as a topic is going across. Again, talking about the very latest latest topic of Kumbh Mela. So I got to know Kumbh Mela before to Kumbh Mela, few years back. The technology there's a Japanese technology Miyawaki that was being adopted to create a very fast form of the forest wherein the plants and the trees were planted very nearby so that they get the competition with each other and they grow faster. And with this, they are able to cater a better hospitality to the Kumbh Mela patrons. And this is not only applicable to smaller events like not smaller event, but the temporary events like Kumbh Mela, but that is equally important even for the larger format of the hospitality where the landscaping plays a very huge role. I had been to Bali and there I had seen the Hayat. I was feeling like I'm always almost staying in a jungle and the kind of feeling, the kind of, experience it was almost as good as an immersive experience.
Immersive experience.
It was a very immersive experience. And now when you're talking about the other part?
Using local material.
Using local materials. So, giving the cultural value and giving the value to the local materials is equally important from the point of view of the sustainability, because first, when you're using your local materials, you are again utilizing lesser resources, and you are saving upon the cost, saving upon the energies, and those energies and costs can be helpful for better commercials of the hospitality setup. And then, of course, when we give value to the local cultures or the regional cultures, it retains the value of that particular region, and it adds on a value to how we want to design the space. So that is again very important.
Yeah. Also encouraging local artists, right? I mean, some of the...
It's an employment opportunity to the local people.
Exactly.
I actually completely agree with Neha. And what's been happening in the last 5 or 6 years that I've been seeing is that restaurant design is taking into this in a very, very big way. Some of the recent projects like Eve, both the Powai as well as the Worli ones, they use a lot of natural sunlight, a lot of live plants inside. It is merging seamlessly with the experience altogether. So it's very experiential. The second part is that even, for example, I'm doing one project in Sindhudurg, which is a resort project. Like you said, we're using a lot of laterite, stone, bamboo, local materials, which is not only generating employment in the local area, but is, as you rightly pointed out, it also keeps, because it's a hot area, it keeps the interiors very cool. And besides this, the basic technologies which need to be used, like a solar energy technology and however, STPs and all that, that obviously is there. Overall, I think the thought process of the interior designers has moved drastically into using local materials and using sustainable products, which I think, like I said, education is very important. I think this is the first step in moving towards a sustainable developed
I
resource.
think the pandemic in some way also,
Yes, it
pushed
has.
this, right?
It has definitely. It has done a
I didn't
lot
know
for the
that,
industry.
fern is improves the indoor air quality. People didn't know what was an IAQ earlier. Now they know it's indoor air quality and things like that. So, like you said, awareness has improved,
Yes.
has increased, and yeah, over to you, Jugal.
So, can we have the deck images? Yeah. So, going back to the idea of more indulgent experience, when as far as the user is concerned, can we go to the next slides on the deck? So, coming to the idea of biophilic design, since most of our projects are around the coastal belt, which is Maharashtra, Alibag, Goa, it becomes doubly important to kind of engage with nature and to create spaces that kind of activate the senses. And so this is a very good example, if we can go to the deck image, where we've created this suspended deck that opens up into the living room and also kind of starts interacting with the green landscape outside. We'll just go to the actual photo. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. it's I think they're yeah, keep going up. Yeah, this is the one. So if you can go next. Yeah. So, how can your interior spaces start engaging with the outdoors? And how do you have extensions of the indoors that almost bring the nature inside? And this is done quite beautifully here, where we've got this large suspended deck. And going back to the argument about using local material, I guess it always value adds. It kind of helps the local community to engage and participate in new developments. You are also able to preserve the local craft. And so those large photos that you saw of the roof tiles, they are all clay tiles, terracotta tiles that are locally sourced. They are also executed by a local team. So we are actually bypassing this whole process of bringing goods from a different city where you are kind of also vulnerable to the material getting damaged. There is an additional transportation cost. You are really bypassing a lot of these processes that are very painful for a developer or an investor. And the result is always extremely complementary to the history of the place and the culture of the place.
I think so. Everybody said the same thing. So I mean, we are more or less we all
Yeah,
are
you
on
can
the
give
same
your
line.
insights
So
as
there
well.
is
Like,
nothing much to say on it.
Yeah.
If you have another question.
Yeah, so I have one talk point which is like I had not shared with you all, but it's related to this. Whoever wants to take it can take it. Like sometimes it's we talk about using local materials, that's fine, and using local artisans. But sometimes how difficult it is to get a vendor. Because sometimes, I'm just giving an example. I went to my ancestral home in Kerala, and they have those usual roofs which doesn't have any nails, right? You just have those rafters. So now the problem is some of them requires maintenance, and also they are saying that it's very difficult to get somebody, an artisan who has, like, nowadays nobody does this. So how difficult it is to get and source vendors who can help you with your projects.
So I think it's a mutual. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, no,
You can say.
no. As you rightly mentioned, it is very difficult sometimes to get those old way
Yeah.
of working.
Exactly.
So literally, you have to get into the inside part of that particular city, like mainly into the rural area,
Rural area.
where all these people have that hidden art with them, but they have not been explored well. So if we bring them out, they are definitely ready to work. There are two major factors happens. One, you save on the cost, and second, you give a lot of opportunity to those people
For
who
the
are
local
not seen
community.
anywhere.
Yes, exactly. Anybody else would like to add?
I
Yeah.
have an add point. So
Yeah.
this is actually an irony, I would say. The basic ways, the traditional ways of doing the work, which were actually much better than the modern ways, are actually getting extinct because
Yeah.
that was done at their ancestral level, and now the people are not following it. Those way, people are not following those methods of construction. So it has become actually very, very difficult to find the correct source to get it fixed. I have been facing the similar problem for a resort, what we are doing in a vernacular format at Karjar. So over there, the similar problem had come where the roofing were to be fixed, and then we were getting to know that it will get the leakage issues, and then that is how it was very difficult for us to find out the correct person who can do it, and then we found it at much higher price. And similarly, again, talking about the old ways of doing IPS flooring, which is now coming as the fashion statement in many of the properties in designing, when it comes to designing. So it has come out one of the most expensive way of, making a floor or making a wall or the lime wash walls. So these are very expensive ways which are returning back with
But
the
at a
newer
cost,
technology,
yeah.
but at a much higher cost.
Yeah.
But the original way has lost its money
Exposure,
advantage
yeah.
and the exposure also.
Yeah, right.
I faced a similar issue when we were doing terrazzo, flooring.
I swear,
Yeah,
similar thing
it's
happens
it's
there.
such a beautiful thing to
Yeah.
do, but and I'm associated with an organization known as Indian Veranda, which is more into getting into the grassroots craftsman level and encouraging them. We found that over 70% of the local craftsmen and the artisans are now on a way to extinction, like she said, because their children are not interested in this business because they know it's not paying to them.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're moving out of that field, they're getting into other more paying fields. So I strongly believe that the government should do something to, to encourage them, make sure that they get the recognition and the requirement, so that we are able to get back to our roots. India has got such a vast.
Yeah, we need to make these artisan guilds, which can
Absolutely.
be actually this
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly.
And y'all can actually, take.
So you are aware,
the front-
Stina, we have Dr. Rajnikant with
Yeah.
the advisory board, and he's the
He
master in
does the
GI
GI
tagging. So
tags, yeah.
he's probably the only person today alive who has got the most GI tags for India. Having said that, I was discussing this thing with him about a month ago or so, and he told me he's having so much of problems in ensuring that all these crafts are taken forward in the future. He said there's chance that all this is going to die out very soon.
Maybe the government has one small step, like when I visited like my native place, Kerala recently. So in most of the stations, you have this one station, one product. So they're trying that if they can,
Yeah, I mean,
so
education is again
yeah,
the key.
exactly. People needs to appreciate that, like that's important. Right?
See, I feel not every time government has to get
Yeah,
involved.
we
So
have
we
to
at
also
our
do.
level also we can
Exactly.
play a small role, and that can help lot many people
So
in the
as
industry.
chairman of that in the institute,
yes.
you can also take forward.
No,
this
we
thing.
are definitely trying to take whatever maximum step possible. Our entire team in the committee is so strong, and they are trying to support all these people very well.
So coming to the last talk point, we're talking about regulatory compliances. Like, um, what is your wish list from the government? Like, you need to get tax breaks, some kind of incentives for projects like this, so that it can be encouraged, and more people will be open to sustainable hotel designs.
I think these people are the better people to answer this.
Yeah, I'd like to share a recent experience. We had approached the government for wind energy and solar energy. We were told that there are a lot of subsidies available, there are a lot of advantages, but the paperwork and the process is killing, literally. You have to literally go back and get them information which is literally not available, right? So I think the whole process has to start at a level where people are able to do this easily, like a one window setup, and then make it maybe mandatory in future. Then what happens is once you have the infrastructure in place and make it mandatory, automatically the whole thing flows.
Like in Mumbai, I think the new projects you have to have rainwater harvesting, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's
So
like
so
mandatory
yeah. So see, it is happening, but then
at a slow pace.
no, it is happening. I mean, see, the mandate is coming in.
Yeah.
But to help people to get into that mandate, that process is yet not smooth.
No, and like Mr. Seth said, some things are in our own hands, right? I mean, we go to a fruit seller, and he still gives you those plastic bags. So it is for you, like, you take a cloth bag with you, and I kind of just refuse, I don't want that bag, right? So sometimes we have to also
Yeah. So
think,
education again. So
exactly.
that's important, definitely.
So I think what can really change the dynamics, like he rightly said, the future generation is not even interested, and the government regulations take a while. What can really quickly change this is that if we had a WeWorks for fabrication labs, where there are facilities, and I think these are propping up in places like Goa already, where artisans are invited. They are offered a platform, like a community platform, where all the right tools, techniques are available for them to thrive, to learn, where there is enough knowledge around. You are interacting with like-minded artisans or craftsmen or even carpenters for that matter. So I think we need a WeWork model on a workshop scale, which will further motivate the younger generation and the future generations to actively stay engaged and to preserve that culture within.
Yeah,
In
and
fact,
the
this is-
awareness also percolates to the customer, right? When the customers
Yes.
ask for something, then the developers say, okay, I want this in my project.
This has been very beautifully done in countries like Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand, wherein, like he correctly said, the artisans are brought under one roof.
Yeah.
And it becomes like a mandate for visitors to come and literally see there, because they all are together, they work together, they are able to get the sort of prices they want, and they sell directly. There are no middlemen involved. So I think that's one of the biggest factors here.
There are some platform available who does this kind of activity. They gather all the artists from different small villages, and they play very important role. And it is so transparent. So whatever money goes, comes in the account, it goes to those artists only. So even middleman also doesn't make that kind of
Money.
hefty margin out of it. They are just trying to support this tribals, actually basically tribals community. So they are trying to help them out. Again, very important, like IGBC is one of the platform which you all must be knowing,
Correct.
Indian Green Building Council. So I am part of that committee also. And Dr. Mala Singh is chairman for Mumbai chapter in that. So that is also helping really well in getting all these norms straight and easy for everyone. So this platform is really very useful. Suppose if somebody is really wants to get into that process, then IGBC is a great support.
Yeah. So they are not the ones who give the LEED certification, right? Are they?
Yes.
Yeah.
They do. PEC greening.
Yeah,
He's talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
Dr. Mala
But
Singh.
you don't see a lot of projects getting.
Again, the
Awareness.
it is happening. The awareness is
Okay.
happening, but it
It's
is.
like somewhat like the Michelin star thing, like somebody commented.
Maybe you should tell
recently.
Dr. Mala Singh to charge a
Yeah.
little less for consultancy.
Yeah, exactly. You were saying something there.
I was saying that these were such the ideal situations and this will happen. I would say that one of the ideal situation would be how we see some foreign countries, they are retaining their cultural values, their cultural aesthetics along.
Yeah.
And it is actually mandatory. I have seen few of the countries and they were asked that at least 60 to 70% of their construction has to be influenced by their cultural lifestyles and the values. But then when we talk about India, it's a little sad story because we are so
Rich in culture
We
and-
are, despite being rich in culture, we are not following it.
Yeah.
Everywhere we move our head, we see different kind of buildings coming up, and these are not resonating together, and they are this is not reflecting what rich Indian culture is or heritage is. We should be imbibing our heritage, our culture as one of the mandatory factor when we are constructing such structures for us.
Completely agree there.
Yeah. So I think that's the last word. Thank you. Any other points I would like to add to this discussion, because I have come to the close. And I think it was a very interesting discussion. And thank you very much for your time, for being here. And it's definitely value add to our expo, a panel like this. Like in Bangalore, we did one on social media and digital strategy, which is again something which is different. So I'm very happy that this panel came together. We would like to call upon my colleague, Mr. Pratik, to give away a small mementos from our side. Can we have a round? We'd like to have a group picture. Yeah, first is the panel. For those of you all who have missed it, we'll be posting this panel on our YouTube channel. So please, y'all can watch it and view it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.